Good day, folks. This is Walima Obadiah, lead instructor from Mshindi Vita Saana African Combat System. Here, once again, we're going to myth 4. And just for the record, I'll probably have about 4 other myths that I'll do and wrap this series up at about 8. But today, as promised, what I'm going to work on sharing with you is conveying the myth about a death blow or like a mysterious type of shot. We'll also kind of cover a little bit of pressure points and things like that, and hopefully dispel some myths for you right there. All right, so I'm going to start off with the first one. Is pretty much like people say, like, okay, that I'll push like your nose bone into your brain, and that'll kind of like instantly stop all that. Well, you might get a bloody nose, but you're not really going to uh, have any nose cartilage that's really going to impact anything into your cerebral cortex or anything like that, and it's not going to be something that's going to like end suddenly. You can have you can be leaking, you have a bloody nose, but the nose is soft cartilage, as we know, or we should know, and that is something that is not going to be like a sudden kind of death technique. Okay. Moving on to the death blow. When we think about getting hit one time, we probably thinking about like fatality. Like there's really no evidence of any one single technique or one single punch or kick or something that's going to really do it. And also something that's going to be consistent for everybody, no matter their size, body weight, height, technical skill level, all of those things. So we really need to think, wisely about if it's going to be one technique that's going to really do that. I know what you see on video games. I know hit that fatality, and they all kind of woozy and all of those things. But we need to really think about, if there's really going to be one technique that's going to work on everyone all the time. So we really don't have a lot of evidence of things like that. Now, what I will say is that things that are really proponents that will impact someone are going to be things like getting knocked out. If that is concussive enough, you may not wake up from that, and we all know that to some degree, concussions and being unconscious and being knocked out from a trauma blow are very similarly related. And it really has to do, on the more scientific terms, it really has to do a lot more with, like the sodium, potassium levels, and your overall electrolytes and things like that, that your blood is kind of carrying. Your blood is carrying, a level of oxygen and other, so it's kind of like a chemical destabilization, your brain hemisphere, whether right or left, if that's kind of joggling up against, skull, then that's not going to be good. So if it's repetitive, that's something that's not going to be good. Obviously, there's something that impacts boxers a lot. And also anyone can, have a bad fall and then not really kind of wake up from that as well. As my father would say, sometimes your biggest fear about, getting knocked up is not waking up. So that is a real thing. Boxers have died from that in the past. And, as long as you're doing things like combat sports, that is, a risk of concussions and being knocked out unconscious. But one of the things that I would say about, those kind of death blows or touch of death is not even one single technique or punch that's going to work on everyone all the time. You get hit right at the right time, and there's not enough oxygen, circulating, then cool, you're going to be pretty much, out of there for the night at least. And we hope that it's not anything more than that, when you have something, concussive or, really kind of that's going to allude to a knockout in that kind of capacity. We've all seen it before. It's great entertainment, but it is very serious in that aspect. And most of the time we kind of, are glad to see people rise up from that, after those type of things. So that would answer the death blow technique. Another one I would say is that if you're thinking about, let's say, getting hit hard, and how are you going to recuperate from that? Like if someone knocks the wind out of you, or let's say, if you get hit by ATV or something like that, might just knock you down and knock all the wind off of you based off of somebody, has something on the other end, or you get hit with a beam or just kind of blown back like that. That could be something that can incapacitate someone for some time. But again, we're talking about being incapacitated. We're not talking about like, I hit you now and then tomorrow, at 4 o'clock, Pacific time, you'll be out of there. Someone kind of brought that up one time about, is the kind of thing where you can kind of have it like time released. No, we haven't seen any evidence of things like that. And then the last one, I know I'm going to probably get some flack with this, but I'm going to, say it anyway. We talk about these pressure points and these things like that. So 2 things about the pressure points is, yes, I'm aware that some cultures, traditions and things and martial artists may have them. That's not something that we practice and do or really focus or believe in, right here in Mshindi Vita Saana. And the reason why is, one, what makes you think that you're going to be able to consistently get close enough to someone in a relaxed state that they're going to, let you just kind of grip them up and then they're just going to go for that? So that's one aspect. And 2, the time and energy that it takes for you to deliver an efficient strike. Some people have trouble just getting off a good one too, let alone something that they can, pinpoint directly and all of those things right there. So whether that is something that we kind of focus on in myths, I do believe that there are incapacitating, holds, incapacitating grips and things of that nature, but it's not something that we're kind of, driven to focus on, because the evidence and results driven based off of what is actual practical combat is not going to be something that's going to yield, the dividends that you want it to. All right, so I hope I covered all of those 4 things about the myths and factoids. Stay tuned for number 5, and I'll just leave that one kind of open until I decide what topic that I'm going to talk about. And remember, we have about 4 more left. Turn on your post notifications so you don't miss anything. If you have questions, put it in the comments, and you know where my bio link is. Stay sharp.